Hello there everyone and welcome. My name is Waffles the Asian Yenbear and today we're going to talk about how to beat stage 30 of the Extreme Z battle for the Super Warriors Downfall Saga. Essentially that's going to be the Goten, Trunks, and Android 18 EZA. Now if you've seen my how to beat the stage 30 for Super Saiyan 4 EZAs, it's basically going to be the same kind of point, so I'm going to simplify it down a little bit and just kind of very quickly go over the teams because essentially they have the same exact weakness, artificial life forms, so any team that we mentioned in that last video will be valid for this one as well. Although this EZA is a bit easier than the last one, the Super Saiyan 4 EZAs were actually a bit difficult. So you will have a little bit more you can work with, and you can also bring some STR units where you couldn't really bring them in the last one. So that kind of widens the pool a little bit more. So we'll mention those as we go, but let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by talking about just the artificial life form leaders, and then a little bit later on in the video, we'll talk about teams you can build if you don't have those units. We will have that timestamp down in the description below, so if you don't have those and you just want to jump around, there you go. But first, you can have TEQ Exchange Buu, of course, is going to be the best leader you can bring here. You can bring LR Super Baby 2, also a very good leader. Cell Jr., if you don't have any of those from the general pool, or you can go with the Prime Battle First Form Cell. Again, he's free to play, but because he's a Prime Battle, he does take a while to grind. So if you don't have any of those units and you don't have Cell grinded up, maybe you might want to instead use one of the teams we'll mention later on. However, this EZA is permanent, so you can always just come back to this a bit later once you actually have Cell's First Form grinded up. But if you're running any of those 4 leaders, this is going to be a lot easier for you. All you're going to do is you're going to bring TEQ, AGL, and STR artificial life forms. Any of the good ones, just running through the list really quick. LR Super 17. You could even run LR in Cell just because he's really bulky and defensive, but ultimately you want the type advantage if you can. But if you really need a unit just to fill, he's good. Android 13, AGL Super 17, Metal Cooler, all good. If you need a free-to-play option, this IMS is okay, but if you've got other options, bring other options. You got TEQ Exchange Buu we talked about with Supreme Kai Buu here. You got Second Form Support Cell, Final Form Cell there. Those two make a great rotation together. Down the list, you even have STR Transforming Buu, STR Big Buu, and you've got STR Perfect Cell. All of those great units to bring. Highly recommend those if you're just running any of the 4 leaders. So just kind of throw an amalgamation of those in there. If you are running a lot of STR units, make sure you're taking out the Trunks first, because the Trunks is AGL and he's going to cause you the most problems. But otherwise, you should be at least type neutral with basically everything else, so that should be good. So let's move on into some of the other teams you can use if you don't have the main artificial life forms leaders. All right, so first on the chopping block is LR Super 17. If you happen to pull him, he's decent, and you can run an Android team with that. So just take a quick look at Androids, and you'll find a few different artificial life forms units that you can bring. For example, you've got up here AGL Android 13. Just going down the list here, you got the Int Cells. You could bring those. You could bring just the AGL Extreme Angel Cell if you really need to. He's not going to be the best unit, but you can bring him. Of course, you've got the Second Form and Final Form cells there. You've got your Android 13s, the fusion ones here. I'm pretty sure that they're also artificial life forms down the list. You even got, what, Demigra? Demigra? I'm trying to remember your name. No, Mira. Sorry, that one's Mira. Demigra's the one. Okay. But you got also Perfect Cell. Yeah, you should have a decent amount of options down in the artificial life forms category if you are running just Androids. And since you've got GT bosses, there is one other unit I could recommend bringing here. If we just jump down, it's this guy, Meta Rildo, who is an artificial life forms unit and would be fine. I mean, essentially that just gives you one more option because, yeah. You're a little bit limited if you're kind of not running the artificial life forms leaders, but you can still make it work, especially with this EZA since it is a little bit easier than the Super Saiyan 4 EZAs. So all the units we just mentioned for Super 17 can also be used on Android 13's team with the exception of STR Meta Rildo. So basically all those Androids units you can run with him, but you can also run a couple target Goku units. So if we just take a quick look over here, since you don't have LR Super 17 or you're running him under that leader skill, either way, I'd say he's pretty good. But you could also run AGL Super 17 because AGL Super 17 is just fantastic in this EZA and just in general. If you got him all fully EZA'd, very, very good unit. But you've also got AGL Metal Cooler here going down the list. One unit I want to mention that is not an artificial life form unit, but one that you might want to consider is STR Cooler. So he is going to get hit pretty darn hard by the AGL Trunks and by a lot of the other units as well. but he does perform a critical hit when there is a hybrid Saiyans category enemy, which you're going to be facing 2 of them. So if you happen to be needing an extra unit on the team and you just got to fill a slot, throw on STR Cooler. He could also be helpful as a leader for a different team we're going to mention a little bit later, but ultimately you'd want to make sure he's not getting hit because he's going to be a bit frail in this EZA. Since he isn't an artificial life form, he doesn't get that damage reduction. So yeah, that's going to be unfortunate, but overall, essentially you're running the same thing, but also a couple target Goku units, just depending on what your box looks like. So let's go to the next team. Okay, so the next team you can bring is a Transformation Boost team with STR Super Buu or STR Cooler like we just mentioned. However, I do recommend bringing STR Super Buu over STR Cooler just because STR Buu is in artificial life forms and Cooler is not. So I would say bring that and then just run a Transformation Boost team. But if we just kind of run through the Transformation Boost units, you'll see that a lot of those are also in artificial life forms like LR in Cell, LR Fizz Cell. You've got Buu Piccolo, you've got the Angel Cell, you've got Android 13. If you don't have a full Androids team, you can also throw him on this Transformation Boost team and he'll be pretty good. Of course, you've got Oms and Goo Vegeta who are okay free-to-play options. Since the EZA is a bit easier, you could run him and they'll be fine. Baby Janemba, we haven't really talked about yet, but he does have a high chance to dodge. So if you do have him, he'll be okay. Probably just won't do a lot of damage. You've got I would not bring AGL Kid Buu. AGL Kid Buu just kind of sucks. Of course, if you have TEQ Exchange Buu, use him, but Supreme Kai Buu, even if you don't have Exchange Buu, will still be very good. And of course, you've got your cells. One unit I do want to point out on Transformation Boost that is not on artificial life forms here is this Final Form Cooler if you have him fully EZA'd. He has a guard against all attacks, and he's going to reduce damage by 50% when guard is activated. So essentially, he's going to be okay. He's not going to be an artificial life forms unit, so he is still going to take a little bit of damage, but if you really need a filler unit just to tank some hits, I'd recommend that Final Form Frieza. He's pretty darn good. Of course, we haven't mentioned them yet, but you could run into Buuhan right there, or into Kid Buu. Of course, you don't really want to bring int units because there is a Fizz unit to worry about, but they are going to be artificial life forms units, and if you happen to be running STR Super Buu, those actually make for a pretty good pair. Kid Buu also, if you got him fully EZA'd, is a pretty decent support. Of course, we talked about STR Cooler, you've got STR Perfect Cell, you've got STR Big Buu with the AoE, which actually is kind of nice, or if you got this guy, Evil Buu, fully EZA'd, you could also bring him as well. And a lot of those other units also work if you have LR Buuhan here, with his Majin Power and Power Absorption categories. So a lot of those units will also carry over to that team as well. But if you're running STR Cooler with Terrifying Conquerors as well, there's not that many units I want to point out except for Int Metal Cooler and Int Metal Cooler and AGL Metal Cooler. I got them confused for a second. But yeah, those two are going to be in artificial life forms, and generally a lot of the other units are ones we've already talked about so far. But yeah, you could bring the metal coolers and that would be pretty good. But I think that is going to wrap it up for me. Hopefully that helps you guys. There are a lot of units you can use, and because this EZA is both permanent and kind of easier, I think you guys will have a pretty easy time here. If you do have questions, of course, you can let me know in the comments down below. Happy to answer those as much as possible. So yeah, let me know there. And we should be back, I think, tomorrow with another video. So hope you're excited and hope you have a good day, a good week, a good life, and happy summons. Oh, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel because that's helpful. All right, bye-bye.